Hey, good morning to you.
Good morning, good morning.
It's R&R in the morning and Monday edition. We got the Cowboys wrapped top to bottom after a pantsing of the New York Giants. Let's look at it from an expert's perspective. Todd Archer joins us for his weekly, you know him from ESPN.com. He is our Dallas Cowboy expert, and he is here. Morning, Todd. How you feeling today?
I'm doing all right, guys. How you guys?
Well, lovely, man. Can't complain. Are you still in New York?
I am getting ready to go to the airport here in a little bit.
Still raining?
Still raining. Yeah, absolutely. I just looked out the window.
How much of a role did the rain play in the grand scheme of things last night?
Maybe the Cowboys don't win 40-0, but I don't think it changes the outcome of the game. It impacted the quarterbacks and what they could do. I mean, you look at Dak's numbers; they're nothing great, but he stayed away from the mistakes, and the defense helped him stay away from mistakes. Mike McCarthy helped him stay away from mistakes. But it was I think Dak after the game was going to say a couple of the snaps felt like a snot ball, but I don't think he wanted to say snot. So he said it was just wet. So I think he was going to say snot.
What do you? I mean, you've been covering this game a long time, Todd. Like those games when it's pretty much over in the first half. What do you take away from it? You know, good or bad.
You have to look at the positive of it. I mean, it's the largest shutout in franchise history. It's the defense was suffocating, right? I mean, the first drive, you're like, okay, the Giants got a little something here. They move down and get inside the red zone, and then they have a false start and a bad snap, and then the field goal happens, and that's it. After that, they had 3 drives that had negative yardage out of their 11 drives or 12 possessions. There are times where like teams can get content during the course of a game. I don't think you saw that from the Cowboys, especially on defense. Look at Diggs' forced fumble, right? It's
right.
The game's over, but he's like, I don't want these guys to score. He rips the ball free, and so guys, the defense really wanted that shutout, and I think the offense wanted to come out and show that they could handle the conditions, handle the Giants front, and run the ball when the Giants knew they're going to run, and they did all of that Sunday night.
Over the years, as we are joined by Todd Archer of ESPN.com, Dallas Cowboy Insider, we've heard McCarthy say for years, complimentary football at every opportunity. He wanted to bring up the fact, and as he's taken over play calling, talk about your idea of what complimentary football looks like and the way that he called the game last night, specifically the passing game. I know the rain played a role, but this was a game dominated by defense that was just helped out, complemented by an offense.
Right. Basically, I view complimentary football as neither side screws it up for the other side.
Well said.
Right? And that's in a game like last night, right? That's what it's like for the offense. McCarthy said after the game to us, like after the first or second possession, he went to the rain plan. And that's why you see them throw it or run it 30 times and average 4 yards a carry. They score 3 rushing touchdowns. Dak throws it only 24 times. That I don't believe, despite what McCarthy said to us in February at the Combine, that, Kellen wants to light up the scoreboard and now want to run the damn ball. Yeah, he wants to run the damn ball, but I also think he knows that they're going to need to throw it to be successful. And when they don't have to, then they're not going to. CeeDee Lamb, I asked him after the game by myself, I said, did you guys pare it down? He's like, absolutely. We knew that this game, there was no reason to go out and show everything to everybody what we can do offensively. Some of that was the weather. And some of that was you mentioned halftime. Let's just get out of there without anybody getting hurt.
Another thing, Ty, when I look at it, there's been a narrative going around that the offensive line, it's not what it was in its heyday when they were Frederick and Zach and Tyron were all young. But we see when these 5 guys, with the addition, of Tyler Smith and his ability to move with either left guard or left tackle, when they're all healthy, they're just as dominant on their side of the ball as the defensive line.
They were last night, and Tyler Smith doesn't even play, right?
Right.
is the left guard with Tyler Smith having that hamstring.
Right.
What was impressive to me is that not only did these guys not play in the preseason, they barely practiced because remember, Zach Martin wasn't at training camp for all of it, So these guys came out and, I was kind of watching Adoga early on, say, okay, what are the Giants going to do? He probably had a couple of minus plays here or there, but he did what you want a backup to do, and he came in and played well. And look, when Tyler Smith comes back, the Cowboys now can feel good about their sixth offensive lineman going into the game. I don't know how anybody could have felt good about their sixth offensive lineman. So that this is you get a confidence boost that if you lose a guy, you got another piece that you can move in. But yeah, I was curious as to how the Cowboys would deal with the loss of Zeke Elliott, especially in goal line short yardage. After the first possession, they had a chance. They didn't score. I'm like, okay, here you go. Well, the next two times Tony Pollard scores from touchdowns of 1 and 2 yards or whatever it was. So they had a plan for how they were replacing Zeke down in the goal line.
Have you ever seen a game where the Cowboys blocked 2 field goals? I don't know. It was such a thorough domination last night. I'm trying to find things that I felt like were competitive to carry forward.
Well, I don't think anybody had Noah
Thank you, all of us.
There you go. Yeah.
There we go.
Him.
As on their bingo card as the guy who's going to score the first Cowboys touchdown of the season. Again, complimentary football, right?
Right.
Here's the special teams, not only not screwing up, but making a positive impact. Not turning the ball over on punts and kickoffs. Oh, they don't. Well, there's only one kickoff for the Giants, but at least on punts, not dropping the ball. It was the first blocked field goal return for a touchdown since 2007 when they beat Minnesota, and it was Pat Watkins, former safety, returned it 68 yards after Chris Candy blocked a field goal. So that's how far back you got to go back to 2007 to even see the blocked field goal for a touchdown.
Todd, how were you guys looking at each other when Aubrey misses that extra point, that first extra point? Was it a here we go again? What was there a collective side monkey?
Yeah. He didn't do himself any favors. And I think that might have been an elements thing because the snap might have been a little bit off and the hold might have been a little off the spot. So he pulled it. And I think that happened on Gano's second field goal as well, that the snap was off. The spot wasn't very good. But yeah, I mean, you immediately go to what happened last year at the end of the year with Maher, right? But then again, here's the kid. He comes back, makes all the PATs, makes the field goals. And I watched him in warmups because, look, this is his first NFL game. This is a dude who was a soccer player 4 years ago. So how is he going to respond? He had a really good warmup. Like everything, not only good, but looked like right down the middle. And then to do that, you're like, oh, here you go again. But again, the kid kind of responded, and that's if you're John Fossil, you're saying, okay, we feel pretty good about the kicker after the first game.
Is Dak going to get that Burrow contract? I know he's going to get paid, but I'm talking about Herbert's gotten paid, and then Burrow jumps him. Like, what's the whispers about what Dak's contract is going to look like now that we've seen these 2 new deals?
Well, I don't think you need to worry about Dak's contract until next year or at the end of this season, because just structurally it's hard to do a deal this year because they can't lower his base salary any lower than it's down to. It's like $1 million. So the structure of the deal would make it hard. They'd have to chew up a lot of cap space. Now, if you get to the end of the year and the Cowboys have done really well, then and they have that cap space remaining, maybe there's something that they do. It's going to be fascinating to see. And I'm not one of these people who said, man, the Cowboys made a mistake by waiting. You knew who else waited? Dak Prescott. He waited and got the $40 million deal. The Cowboys tried to get him signed. The Cowboys thought they were close on a deal in 2019 for $33 a year. Dak waited, and Dak got another $7 million raise. He's okay waiting again because if they don't sign him to an extension, well, they can't tag him. There's a no trade clause. He's going to cash in from somebody. I don't think he wants to leave the Cowboys. I don't think the Cowboys want him to leave at all, obviously. But I don't think this is something you'll see in 2023. And now watch, they'll sign him tomorrow to a 5-year, $280 million deal.
Right.
It would be right up Jerry's alley to do something like this. Todd Archer joining us for his weekly regular. Any injuries that we need to be concerned about coming into next week?
I don't believe so. Adoga missed a few snaps, and they never really even announced it in the press box what happened to him. But he came back into the game. I didn't see anybody in any kind of walking boot after the game. So I think, again, you look at it 40-0 loss, and once you get to that third quarter, you're like, okay, make sure this is a preseason game and no one gets hurt, and you go home and you enjoy that plane ride home.
It's hard to watch from television, Todd, because, obviously camera follows the ball. It's the transition from Mozzie, from what we saw in training camp to preseason to his first game as a pro. Has it been a little bit more difficult, a little bit more clunky than we thought it would be?
I think so. And I think he might have said some of the same things as well. It's weird for a guy who lines up right next to the ball to be as late off the ball. But you can see when things are right, hold up guys. And, a good night, like a good thing about last night is, the Giants ran for 108 yards, but it took them 28 carries to get there, right?
Mm-hmm.
The largest run they gave up was an 18-yarder to Barkley. He was in there for some of it. He had to have been doing something right. Jonathan Hankins, the other nose tackle, he looked like he was particularly strong against his former team. But I think Mozzie's paying for the success of CeeDee Lamb, Micah Parsons, and Tyler Smith, where we've seen these first-round picks come in and play well immediately. So now we're thinking, okay, well, here's the next one. This doesn't always happen at any position, but even at defensive tackle. So I think, hey, be patient, give them some time, and they'll certainly be tested as the year goes along with the opponents the Cowboys have coming up.
Certainly, as Todd Archer joins us via ESPN.com, talking Cowboys, we're going to need to see Mozzie's improvement, because if there was one part of the defense that you saw might be worthy of a look-see, was that first couple of series, especially the first one that the Giants rolled out, and they did drive it down the field between the tackles.
Well, and it was Daniel Jones really
that's true.
More of the damage in on that first possession where the pass rush either ran by him or just created some vacancies there for him to run through. But, yeah, Mike McCarthy says that, right? We know how teams are going to attack us. They don't want to face our pass rush. They're going to try and run it down our throat. That's why they went with Mozzie Smith in the first round. That's why they re-signed Jonathan Hankins, and that's going to be the MO. So if the Cowboys can get 10-0 leads, 14-0 leads, 16-0 leads, 26-0 leads, 40-0 leads, teams aren't going to be able to run the ball on you because you got to throw it.
Is DaRon Bland fortunate or really that good, Todd? Like, I'm starting to believe like the kid can just really play. Like, you can't just run into 6 picks in your first 18, 19 games.
Yeah, he showed early on in his first training camp that he'll always be around the ball. Sometimes that's not good for a corner because that means they're always coming at you.
Picking on you, yeah.
Right. So, but he has a way of finding the ball. Just to say, maybe not the same way as Trayvon Diggs can find the ball, but he's a guy that, again, a year ago, he's a 5th round, 6th round pick.
Right.
Who thought who this guy was going to be? And he comes in and he leads the team in interceptions. Some of that might be a product of, well, who are you going to go at? I don't want to throw at Diggs.
Great point.
Now I really don't want to throw at Stephon Gilmore after what he did last night. So there's going to be opportunities for him. Last night, obviously, was mostly luck. But again, the ball seems to find those kind of guys.
Todd Archer joining us here for a weekly stop by. Don't forget, he'll be here every Monday. So now they got the Giants, the Jets on the docket next. If they take down the Jets, is there anything that the Cowboys get for owning the city of New York?
I'm sure Jerry will seek something from the mayor of New York to count it as Dallas Cowboy Month or something like that if that were to happen. But look, we all know Aaron Rodgers' history against the Cowboys, so you go in a little leery on this one, right? I mean, he's thrown 100 straight passes without an interception against the Cowboys in the regular season. The last guy to have a pick against him was Barry Church.
Barry Church.
I think in 2016.
Wow.
Don't hold me to the 2016, but it was definitely Barry Church. And again, if you're Aaron Rodgers and you're watching that thing last night, you're going, and there are questions about the Jets' offensive line and their tackles. You're like, okay, we're getting the ball out quick this week, right? I mean, but again, his history, not only against Cowboys, but inside AT&T Stadium, is pretty good.
They have, Todd, I haven't seen anything. They're going to probably be doing something to honor Gil Brandt this coming up weekend, I would think.
I'm sure there'll be a moment, at least before the game. I know his memorial service is this week. There's been discussions about putting a patch on the helmet or something where they need to get league approval for something like that. But yeah, they will have something to honor and recognize Gil Brandt, certainly either before probably before kickoff, I would say Sunday against the Jets.
Hey, Todd, travel safe. I hear the East Coast is just a big jumble of flights, so get home safely.
Hopefully, I'm looking forward to getting across the street to LaGuardia Airport any moment.
He is Todd
Thanks,
Archer.
Todd.
We're going to get him every week.
Thanks,
Travel
guys.
safe, man. We'll talk to you next Monday.
Appreciate it. Thanks.